Welcome to another episode of That's What They Said, a podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Scott Spinelli, Sarina Morales, and today we are questioning Eiffel 65, Blue, parentheses, Dabba-dee, parentheses.
I mean, to be clear, there were a number of Eiffel 65 songs that we could have done. We chose the Dabba-dee version of Blue.
The Dabba-dee.
Yes.
This is a song, Eiffel 65. They're an Italian Euro pop group. There's three guys in this group with frosted tip hairs. Actually, one guy's bald. The lead singer, Jeffrey J. The keyboardist, Maurizio Lobina. And the producer, Massimo Gaburi.
I'm glad that your pronunciation works there, not just for Hispanic names, but for Italian names. You really lean in.
Thank you.
You always want to listen, Sheryl Sandberg that ish. You know what I mean? Just lean into it. Yeah, just give it to
culture. Do it for the culture.
Yeah, and you gave one of these too. You gave a little. Yeah.
That's a great name, Gaburi.
Oh, yeah. And actually, the guy, just as a fun side note, that guy Jeffrey J is from Brooklyn. Yeah, but he moved to Sicily, I think, at like 11
Torino?
or 12. Yeah.
Oh, Sicily.
Yeah, or Torino. Yeah, he moved to Italy is the point. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's why Jeffrey J's name doesn't fit into the
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
You'd be surprised. They wrote this song in 2 hours, Scott.
I heard that, and I was not surprised. In fact, I was questioning what they did for the other hour 45. You know?
Oh man. Yeah. If you're familiar, you're definitely familiar with the song. I think everyone knows the song. Well, let's get into quickly. They produced this song. They came up for an idea. It was like supposed to be a dance song. Jeffrey J explained that his inspiration for the lyric was how a person was supposed to like choose their lifestyle. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm blue means I'm sad, like, and I'm just depressed all the time. The color blue. It was picked at random. And Labina was basically like, let's just write some nonsensical lyrics. And then Gaburi, my favorite one, he came up with the Dabba-dee hook. So the three guys in 2 hours were like, let's just talk about, picking up a lifestyle. They picked the color blue, which is often associated with depression. And then you've got Gaburi with the Dabba-dee.
Apparently, so I did spend about 30 minutes watching. There's a good series.
You watched The Vice?
Yeah. So you should, for anybody who's interested, there's other ones too. I think Vanessa Carlton's song, A Thousand Miles is on there. There's a bunch of good ones. And they just actually, oddly enough, just started it back up with a new season of them.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really good series. It's on YouTube. At any rate, I give them credit because, to be fair, they were just straight up. They were like, listen, we wanted a chorus that everyone in the whole world could sing. Now, that's very ambitious. It turned out working out for them that it did become like a sort of a global song, but everybody could sing it. And one thing I did not know, because again, I was like you, I thought, all right, well, blue, sadness, that kind of thing. Apparently, like in Germany, blue, it means like drunk or something. Like it doesn't even, right? Like there's in different parts of the world, which obviously this part makes sense. I never really thought about it. Blue for us means sad. You're feeling blue, but like it also means, right? If I was to drop a lot of F-bombs, I'm working blue, right? Like that's blue material, right? So like there's so many. It as stupid as this song appears on, as dumb as this song appears on the outside, and believe us, it's that dumb. There are some elements to it that do make a little bit of sense.
Okay, so it's layered, even though they had no thought of how deep we could get with the color blue, But
I do think it makes it interesting in the sense that like this is a song about a guy. No, this is a song just to go right into the opening lyric. This is a song that like it just was interesting to think about like whenever you've had the fortune of traveling throughout the world, and whenever you go somewhere, you realize one of the first things I always think about is like, oh, that's right, no one gives a shit about any of the small things going on in my life that I think are important because there's a whole world out there. Right. And it's the same thing with this. Like we think blue means sad. That doesn't mean that everyone in the world thinks that blue means sad.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why it worked and became one of the biggest songs we've ever heard ever.
Can I make one more point though? Just this is an unrelated point. You did warn me that we may go here, and I didn't even think of this until we started. You mentioned the three names of these guys, right? So there's two guys whose names are very Italian sounding, and then a guy whose name is Jeffrey and his last name is Jey.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Grammaticas. Remember the Grammaticas, the kickers? For the Buccaneers? They had so Martin Gramatica was the kicker.
Yes.
And then there was another one, I want to say his name was Jesus, but then the other one who got hurt for the Cardinals celebrating, his name was Bill. So Jesus, Martin, and of course,
Bill.
William. Yeah, William. Hi, Bill Grammatica. Good to see you. You know?
William, yeah. I mean, sometimes when we Americanize our names, it's just like, what? Why
There's
did
this,
you?
Yeah.
Bill.
So
Billy.
Yeah. I mean, another football example. The receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and his brother's name is Equanimous St. Brown,
Right.
but the father's name is John. It's like, I mean, listen, you can name your kids whatever you want.
Whatever you want. They really went.
Yeah, it was just
choice.
like, yeah.
Yeah, what is that book? Tiki Tiki Tembo No Sorembo, Cherry Perry Pick Perry Pembo. Do you remember that?
By the way, is this the first sign of you having a stroke? What are you talking about?
there was a book about, I don't know. It was like a famous children's book. Anyway.
Of course. Tiki Tiki Tembo, Ricky Ricky Rembo. Yeah.
Just forget it. Why did they name their group Eiffel 65? I'm glad you asked.
I don't know. This one I don't know. Give me a little Michael Porter Jr., a little Denver nug.
A little Denver nug for you, Scott.
Yeah.
A computer chose the name randomly from a group of words that the three had selected. The number 65 was added by mistake. The producer had written down a phone number on a piece of paper, and 2 digits ended up on the label copy. This is the perfect, like the whole thing, like them sitting in a freaking studio, like, let's come up with a dance song. What's our name gonna be? We have 2 numbers on a phone number that end up being our freaking song group.
Have you heard about this trend of AI music? There was something where I forget, it might have been Def Jam was trying to do this thing where they had an AI rapper who, like, again, I think it was just they were testing things. I don't know all the specifics. It got shut down. Obviously, people were not thrilled about it. But in a way, Eiffel 65 was so ahead of their time. This is what, 98, 99?
Yeah, 98 it came out, and then it got really, became popular in 99.
And so if you think about it, this is basically them saying, like, what happens if we just hit shuffle on the entire process, right? The lyric writing process, the song, because even in the video, the music, the behind the scenes that we watch, like, the guy's playing the melody on the piano. It's a very nice sounding melody. And they're like, all right, let's make a dance track out of it.
Yeah.
They're just
like, you could have just used that. But no. Let's add some weird auto.
Yes. And then we don't know the name of the group. We're like, originally, I think they said something right. Like they pressed 1,000 units and sold 200. The guy telling the story, the main singer, was just like, they called me about it a year later and they said, oh, I love this blue. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
He had forgotten about the song.
Yes.
I was like, what? I mean, yeah, this whole thing was like a mistake, and it worked out. That's what's so good about this. But yes, the song first released October of 1998. It failed the first time they went to the club.
We should have the society should have listened, but yeah.
Right. Imagine you hear this. You were one of those people in the club for the first time, and you're like, let's get out of here. And then later on, you're like, oh no, it came back. Like.
Did you like this song? Did you like it?
I thought it was funny. Like, it was entertaining to me. And then it gets stuck in your head, and then you play it. It wasn't like, you know what song? This wasn't a song I was recording on a cassette tape. Like, I was not going out of my way to record it, but it was everywhere. You really couldn't avoid this song.
Agreed. I will say, and listen, I liked a lot of garbage. I was a big Criss Cross fan. You know what I mean? So it's not like I've always been listening to like the highest level of hip hop. I'm not one of those. But yeah, I mean,
that'll make you. Yeah.
I do remember thinking, like, should I wear my clothes backwards to school? Should I do that? And then I decided to just, I saved myself the time and kicked the shit out of myself without anybody having to interfere. But I didn't. Yeah. The bigger point here is simply just that. I don't really know, like, if any of maybe some of my friends, I just feel like we all, even as kids, were like, yeah, it's catchy, but it's so blatantly stupid. Like, it was beyond the pale. You know what I mean? It was like too much, even as a what would I have been, 12 years old at that point? Like, right? Like, even for me, I remember thinking, this is just too much.
That's what it is for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm doing a very terrible robot, but
Ah,
yeah.
I thought it was good. I really think it was good. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yes, the song did fail the first time, and then in the spring of '99, it was April 1st, which is also hilarious. April Fools is the day that it blew up. Pun intended. Blew dabba dee. Blew up.
Ah.
Thank you. And this is the song's this group's most popular single. Obviously, it was number one. I don't know any other songs of theirs. It made it. It was number one in 18 countries. It was number two in Italy, and it peaked at number 6 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100
It's
in January of 2000.
Yeah. It's interesting that you joke though about like, oh, this is obviously their only big song, which it clearly is. But like in some of these, I would imagine like for people who don't know Jamiroquai that well, right? Or like Mark Morrison's Return of the Mac, which may be on our list. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but it should be if it isn't.
Should be.
But like some of these songs, like if people don't know the artist that well, they might be like, oh, I didn't know that. Like for instance, like I was talking to somebody about this recently, like Sum 41. Remember that song Fat Lip?
Yeah.
I like that song, but I wasn't into that kind of music, so I didn't know. I was like, oh, they had other songs. You're like, yeah, they had other songs. In this particular case, the band broke the band. That is real heavy lifting on the word band, but they broke up and they started doing only like the two of them because the one DJ wanted to make his own solo career. So like they really didn't have a lot else other than this. I was expecting to find more, like maybe they charted in Transylvania or something, but they they really didn't.
Yeah, it's like you get so successful and then it's like, but we can't do anything else, and this is all you have.
Yeah, and to that point that we can't do anything else, right? I thought about this when they were saying we were touring all the time. How long were their sets? 4 minutes long? Like what they didn't have any other records.
Well, because what did they just open all the time for different bands? Because
even opening acts have more than one song.
Right. So it was just you'd go to a club, they'd DJ that song, which you could just push a button and play it on the speaker, but they wanted to see the three guys go like this, da 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 da. Like it's not like there's like, yo, let me tell you what's like yo, here's a story about
Well, let's also, if we're gonna get to the lyrics, let's start right there.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because it's yo, listen up.
Yeah, when they start, anybody who starts off with "Yo, listen up, here's the story," my first issue with that is one, it's like, all right, I'm already listening to the song, cool it, all right, I'm already here. Number two, if you are that instructive in your opening line, you better deliver a story. And unfortunately, there is no story.
There is no story. When he says "You'll listen up," it reminded me of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now this is a story all about how I was just like, oh man, I got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in there. But
you know it is a bad sign when the lyrics to the themes, admittedly he was a rapper, but the lyrics to a theme song for a sitcom just blow. Yeah, they blow it out of the water. They're the same, but even better. Like that's how you know it's a terrible start for Eiffel 65.
Yeah, yo, listen up. And also the way they say it, because it's like, yo, listen up, here's a story. It's like, yo, listen up, here's a story, right?
Yeah.
Like even the way, I was like, I don't know if I want to hear the story.
Yeah, it's Cornball from Jump Street is what it is.
About a little guy that lives in a blue world. You've already, now you're talking yourself down, because he's like, oh, a little guy, like, I'm a big guy. Like, when they're writing these lyrics for 2 hours, I mean, let's make them little. Let's make them a small human.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I guess if you watch the music video, which they said was based off of video games at the time, Metal Gear Solid. I mean, and I would say this.
We gotta talk to the music video.
Yeah, please do not watch the music video, folks. It's not worth your time.
It's a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I would argue that based on the way they did it in the video, the listen up, here's a story. The protagonist, if you will, of this music video is not him. He's talking about someone else.
Yeah.
But even diving too deep into these lyrics feels insane, because the creator of the song was just like, this didn't mean anything. This is nonsense.
We just made it with the color doesn't mean anything or anything. Again, that's why people who didn't dive into the lyrics, which no one does, except for us and this great podcast that we have, that's what they
Bra,
said.
bra.
Bra, bra, bra. But outside of that, if you're listening to it in, Tarzana or wherever the hell you're listening to it, I'm just trying to think of wherever the hell you mentioned before. You wouldn't.
Transylvania.
Transylvania. I was close.
Yeah.
Or Scotland. I don't know. I'll just name random countries now. But the important part is it related to everyone because you could have color associated with whatever you wanted it to be.
I also want to take a minute to break down the chorus.
Please.
I'm kidding. I do not want to do that.
Oh. I was like, would love to see what direction you go in. Dabba dee dabba da. This, I mean, you imagine the Gabooti guy who thought of that. He's like, guys, here's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna repeat it. We're gonna repeat it a lot. Dabba dee. I mean, it sounds like actually I screen grabbed this. My Google search when I was looking for the song, at the bottom where it's like, here's some other searches that people have.
Sure.
I'm blue. If I was green, I would die.
I thought no, but he says that in the thing, and I thought, oh, wait a minute. I actually did think that was the lyric at one point, and maybe as a kid, like that. If I was green, I would die. Like because, but that's again not really understanding what they were intending the word blue to mean. I mean, okay. This is the one positive thing I will say.
Yeah.
In preparation for this song, I was struck by the fact that there are more lyrics than I thought. I actually thought in my memory of this song, because I probably hadn't listened to it prior to today I don't know, since 1999, was that I didn't think there were any lyrics in this song. Like I honestly even forgot.
Blue dabba dee dabba die.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that it was anything at all. So I guess credit to that there are words in here. Yeah.
Well, the after the first intro, yo, listen up, here's the story. The thing that stood out to me is he goes, blue is his house. First of all, he changes his voice. He's like, blue is his house with a blue little window, whatever. Like he sounds like a robot. I'm like, why? Yeah. What happened to your voice?
Well, did you hear what they said about that in the video?
Oh, no, I think I skipped through the 30 minutes of this.
So one thing they mentioned was that Cher's song, Do You Believe in Love, that song had come out, and they liked what she was doing to her voice, but they didn't know what it was, so they tried to recreate it, and I forget the explanation of what they did. But what we now know is that Cher was using auto-tune, and they didn't really have that, or at least they didn't have access to it at that point. So they basically were trying to recreate auto-tune without knowing it. So this is an early auto-tune thing, and that's why his voice sounds so robotic.
But he says blue his house with the blue little window. Like what? Blue his house. What does that even mean? Blue is the color of his house, but they were like, just cut out some of those words. Yeah. Blue his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette. Everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around. Blue his house. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes no sense because in the second verse, he says, "I have a blue house with a blue window."
This is the robotic part. Sorry, I mixed up the robot voice, but I mean it's all very freaking confusing. Yeah.
The song is not particularly distinctive one way or the other. Yeah.
Blue is the color of all that I wear. And so you know that part of the song. Yeah. I was like, what the hell did he just say? I never knew what he said. Blue is the color of all that I
wear. I mean, I guess the thing that's odd about this, just even trying to attack it from their perspective to me is like, I get the idea that they're saying like, this is the lane that you choose to live your life in. Sure. But like, I don't like. I think it's a little singular. Life. Yeah, it's a little singular, right? Like, I like a handful of things. Yeah. But even just taking away the literal color, right? Okay. Like, I like certain things. My house also isn't those exact things. My car isn't also those things.
My girlfriend is also blue.
Yes, she is a robot. From the planet Eiffel 65.
It's so weird.
It's not good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have more to say about these lyrics?
No, I ran out of things to say about 19 minutes ago. So.
Oh, okay.
After we got into the grammaticas and the St. Browns, I was
that's fair.
I was like a casino dealer. I was out.
Right. I mean, outside of the blue dabba dee dabba die, which is repeated, there are a few lyrics, but we basically covered all of them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But to get to the video very quickly, if anyone's ever watched it, I'm sorry. If, and again, to Scott's point, don't watch it. But to describe it for those so that they can avoid watching it, it looks like it was done over dial-up. Like this looks, there are blue aliens.
It very well may have been in 1998 or 9 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
I looked it up. There's a website for the blue aliens it's called Zorotol. They're a blue alien. I know. It looks like an HTML page. I gotta tell you. The main guy gets zapped to space. There's a planet of blue aliens. They're jamming out to a song. They're trying to steal his gift of music, which this is the gift. The computer graphics are worse than like the first version of Zoom or Doom, excuse me.
Yeah.
There's a fight that looks like someone's clicking on Control A and B.
Yeah.
This is
it's
how you win.
Really, really awful.
One guy performs in front of the entire blue alien community. He looks very confused. And then they figure out a cheat code and they somehow escape and go back to Earth. That's basically what the music video is.
You know what just occurred to me? Why were there so many videos that took place in space?
Oh,
right? Right back then, Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson Scream.
Yeah.
The first NSYNC video.
Yep, right?
Yeah, Baby Hit Me One More Time. Or not Baby Hit Me One More Time. Oops, I Did It Again.
Yes.
Or no. Whichever one it was that with the red jumpsuit.
Space. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, she's in. Oops, I Did It Again. That's right. Yeah, that was the one. You know, it's just like a lot of them in these weird space settings.
It was all 90s. It was very 90s, early 2000s, where they're like, let's go to space again.
But the songs had nothing to do with space. You know what I mean? Not that there's a lot of space songs, but like, you know what I mean? Like I remember Jamiroquai had a song or an album or both called Space Cowboy. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
These songs, like all of these songs, have nothing to do with different planets. I don't know why. I don't know.
Any final thoughts on Eiffel 65 and the song Blue?
No, I mean, no.
That's